The one thing that I can't get behind is like the NCIS crime shows. She watches that like she's asked me to she's never asked me to watch it, but when she's watching, I'm like, how do you fucking watch this shit? And I know it's so popular, but every show is like, what was the murder? This guy. It was you. No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was. How could it be me when I was here? Oh, it was him. And then you go over here, and then you go, oh wait, it was him the whole time, and he had a body double or something. It's like, okay, every show, it's this bait and switch back to it.
Do you think that I mean, I understand they're trying to make forensic scientists seem kind of cool, but I think they've just gone too far. Mm-hmm. It's like, I guarantee you most of these people are frumpalumpagus, just like some dumpy lady who just can't wait till 5 o'clock rolls around. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
no. They're always so helpful. They're like, did you dust for prints? Yeah, I didn't find any. However, the little carbon sampling on this, and very interesting. I picked up some weird particles, and so I ran those through a database that I tapped in. And you're like, nobody. They're just like, no, there's no blood. This guy gets off.
Like, like she did that on her own time as a favor.
They're always too. I'm like, there's no way it's like this
on a hunch.
Yeah, there's no way like the civil servants who scrape through a 2-year degree program, right, are just like all gorgeous. You know,
that'd be a great scene. A real life MC.
Yeah, right.
And I'm with you. There's got to be people who find dead bodies that just punch a clock.
There has to be.
5 o'clock, I'm out of here. I don't give a fuck. Look,
I make $18 an hour. I'm not looking at this guy's dirty mouth for more evidence. Okay, he's dead. Nobody cares.
Wait, what? Hold on. What now?
That's what. Yeah, I think that's true, man. I think they've just gone too far. You know?
Sure. Yeah.
Like too much is expected of these scientists, these NCIS scientists.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably women and men sitting out there that like, I don't know that if I'm attractive enough to do this job anymore, because it seems like
not attractive enough to sample things off dead bodies.
Yeah. I find those shows and I mean. You know, it's not as big of a deal now because my kids are a little older. I still have a 9-year-old, but like my father-in-law watches, he's addicted to Law and Order Special Victims Unit. Mm-hmm. So we would go visit my in-laws, and I'd have like a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old running around, and it's just like, yeah, so he raped her and then he peed on her face. I'm like, you not watch this right now, Mr. Greg? Yeah. It's like, I gotta,
right.
You know, and it just was, it's just the most violent, you know, crazy stuff. So.
Yeah, for sure. And it is amazing that gets on TV. And you know what else is like, I don't understand why it's like NCIS Miami. It's like, all right, that person was murdered in Detroit. You want to see something else? How about a person murdered in Miami?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. You did the same story. You just switched towns.
Yeah, that's like, right. Like they just didn't do that up until recently, where they had a hit show, and so instead of like coming up with a completely different concept, they just
remove the show.
You know what I'm saying? If they were just like the Waltons of Wyoming, and you're just like what? It's just the same show in a different prairie. You know,
full house, but in Michigan,
Full House, Atlanta. Yeah. The North Carolina Highway Patrol in Chips.
Right.
They didn't do that, man. They just they made a new show, right? Love Boat, Caribbean. You know, it's like they did. That was a show, right? The Love Boat.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
The Love Boat. Yeah. Then there was Fantasy Island. I always get those two confused.
Which one was the one with Hervé Villechaize?
What?
He was. I think he played Odd Job.
The tattoo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, tattoo. Yeah.
That was Fantasy Island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
God, you remember these names so well. There's no way I remember that.
No, I don't know.
He's a standout. He's notable. He's memorable. Yeah.
I don't know what the right word
I don't either.
Describe him the politically correct word.
No, I just know you're not supposed to pick him when playing GoldenEye because that's cheating. So,
oh wow.
Yeah, that's
he's
true.
He's too short. The target's too small. You can't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you go to aim, you go right above his hat and you shoot his hat off. So it doesn't.
Okay.
You really have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hi guys.
Hi. Hello.
How's it going?
Oh wow, oh, Steve, hold on. Too much energy. How's everyone doing?
Okay.
Good.
This we're gonna try something new. We're gonna get better every week at this intros. It's our new thing. It's our resolution for March of 2021.
Okay. Yeah.
This is Jeff, Steven, and Mark with the Hummies VR Comedy Podcast. Tonight we are joined with a guest, Justin Scranton from Conspiracy Beer Me. He's a comedian and also a podcaster whose podcast is named Conspiracy Beer Me. So an odd portmanteau there. Hi.
So Justin Scranton, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, glad to be here. Hold on. This is how we start our podcast. That's
okay.
That's a beer.
There we go.
So we drink beer, talk about conspiracies, but we're comedians. So like every once in a while, usually a family member will be like, "How seriously do you take this stuff?" And I'm like, "You haven't listened to our pod because we don't." Like someone will get into it with sometimes because we'll mispronounce something or get a name wrong, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, I don't care. Like I'm not like I like this stuff because it's entertaining, not because I want to storm the Capitol." So like,
right, yeah.
I don't take any stance on any of it. Whether it's like.
Well, that's what's great about your podcast. And so everyone knows Justin Scranton is a comedian, and I know him well. We do comedy together, and I think he's one of the best in the scene for sure. And I'm a fan. So whenever we do shows or wherever on the same lineup, I'm always looking where Justin's going because I got to see his set. So make sure to check him out for sure.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And the podcast is Conspiracy Beer Me, and I think that's what makes it so fun is because you are getting information of real conspiracies, and then you do that every week. And you also have two other co-hosts that are very funny that will eventually be on the podcast. Shane Smith, Sam Mazzani. And good friends of mine too. Me and Sam started comedy about the same time, and Shane is does comedy in the scene as well. And if you've seen my channel, you've seen Shane because Shane has been in a few skits of mine. So make sure to check them out. And we'll have
Sam lived with you for a while.
Sam lived with me for a while. Yeah, He was homeless, and I took him in, and then he grew wings and flew.
It's like
I do the research for our topics, and then Sam and Shane provide the sort of, I don't know what the right word, the riffs, the comedic riffs to it. So that's kind of how we've divided the labor.
I did notice that, and I think it's great. I love Conspiracy Theory. It's like right up my alley. I love listening about conspiracy theories. Obviously, I love comedy. It is great. I listened to your JFK one the other day.
Yeah, it's fun.
And wow, you guys are good. You do all this research. It's thorough. It's entertaining. You should give it a listen.
Thanks.
It's good. Yeah, and I was impressed. Even at the end, you put together there's a Raleigh, North Carolina connection to the JFK assassination. Yeah,
chunk of his head landed up here.
There was this mysterious phone call that was placed that was to a Raleigh phone number by one of the suspects.
I think Lee Harvey. He was in jail, right? And I was like,
he was in jail, and he made a phone. Lee Harvey also made a phone call, and it was to a Raleigh person.
Yeah,
damn.
And no one knows
His
who the
one
person
call.
was.
Yeah.
It's still a mystery, right? Like,
Yeah.
Well, I don't know timelines well, but was it Sir Walter himself?
The JFK thing happened in 60. What?
Krispy Kreme donuts. He's like, I'm about to get shot.
I heard that people were theorizing that the Raleigh call was to his like CIA asset. Maybe that's right. Some people
that's one of the I mean, this is what we're talking about, but you cannot look at any of the objective facts and think that the Warren Commission, which is the first commission that studied the assassination and concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, you can't possibly believe that. And in fact, the second government investigation, which was commissioned by the Congress, determined that in fact there was a conspiracy to kill JFK. And most people don't know that. Most people don't know there was a subsequent investigation by the U.S. Congress that determined that there was a conspiracy. But they only know the Warren Commission.
That is wild.
So
now this brings up a question that I have about conspiracy theory is the naming of them. This is it's not a theory anymore. It is that's out there. That is a thing that happened, that they were trying to kill him.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're also touching on something that has been a bit of a soul search for us as conspiracy theorists, because we started doing this in 2018, and in 2018, conspiracy theories didn't have some of the dark overture that they have today. Mm-hmm. Like, I think most people say conspiracy theorists now as a pejorative term, like they're insulting, mm-hmm. Like my aunt's gone off the deep end. She's a crazy conspiracy theorist now. Like when I was growing up, and still to this day, like I always thought of conspiracy theories of like trying to get to the truth and figure out what really happened. If somebody's covering up information or listening to sources that aren't official, that have been silenced, and sort of digging through and getting to the facts. Where nowadays it just seems like so many conspiracy theories are part of organized disinformation for purposes of distraction. And that's what's been tough for us, because we've been like, should we be talking about this? I feel like we're just adding to the problem here. So we've kind of had to sort of work through that. And again, because we're comics, we're always just like, let's just talk about stuff that's funny. Let's just, and but you're right. You do find things where you're like, wow, this is kind of mind blowing that this has now been like all the alien stuff. I mean, slowly the government has slowly leaked out that like, yes, we know there are UFOs and we've known it for years and we just haven't been telling you. And that's all been confirmed now. It's not a theory anymore. Mm-hmm. So
that's right. Yeah. Didn't we kind of mention that? They're just baby stepping at us and giving us little bits here and there. And just eventually they'll be like, what, you guys didn't know this? Come on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And we did an episode on soft disclosures, which is a CIA tactic that they've been using for decades, which is they will disclose something in the form of a film or a book. And so it keeps the truth from coming out, because when people talk about it, people are like, oh, that's just that movie. And they're like, yeah, but that movie is the actual truth. And they release it as a movie to help distract from the truth. Right.
Wow,
and so they use
right.
No, it's really true. They've done that. I mean, the CIA has admitted to doing that.
Jeez.
So it's crazy.
Man.
Wow.
So they do these soft disclosure kind of things.
Stephen King. Jesus Christ. He's just laying down the truth.
Yeah,
there is a clown in the sewers.
Right, because so if someone comes out and says that, most people are like, come on, you don't believe that, dude. You really think they would intentionally release a movie when in actuality, yes.
Which in turns make people think, oh, you believe a movie, right? So now it's like they're crazy. It's like, dude, this guy's over here believing movies.
It's so difficult.
I guess there's also a park Jurassically. Dude, last
dinosaur. Before we get too carried away down the conspiracy throat, we've got two pieces of business.
Okay, this is
and then we can let imaginations run wild. We'll get through these.
Oh God, my imagination is so ready.
It's so fucking hard.
Please, let me just add your imagination for just a minute here.
All right.
We've got our word of the week, word of the day.
Okay.
This one's a little different.
Okay.
This one's a slang word. It is.
Oh, I thought you were about to say slur. I was like, let's just skip this one.
Actually, we're new waters here. We're slurs and throwing those into the mix.
That's a fun game.
Yeah.
Racial slur now.
Yeah.
Tell you a word.
Oh no, we're not pigeonholing it to race. Everything. We're going out there.
Yeah,
everything.
Religious slurs are the best.
We'll release the words in the form of a movie first, and then we'll get back to
it. This one is all right. Gardy Lou.
Gardy Lou?
Gardy Lou.
Okay. I think it is the British fuzzy hat that guards the toilet.
Like a beef eater for the for the shitter?
A beef eater for the shitter, yeah.
That's a great guess. A
shit eater.
That's a great word, Gardy Lou.
Gardy Lou. I think it's like a half-ass guarding job. Like, you're kind of guarding something, but I don't really care about it.
I'm going to say it's a seaside battle.
Oh, like Waterloo, but Gardy Lou.
I don't know why I went to the sea with guard.
No, that's probably the most accurate answer we've ever gotten.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jeff, who's most right?
I think Mark. I think Mark.
Whoa!
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, he's very right. Okay,
what?
So this is a bizarre one.
Okay.
All right, Gardy Lou, used by people in medieval Scotland to warn passersby of waste about to be thrown from a window into the street below.
Come on.
The term was still in use as late as the 1930s and 1940s, when many people had no indoor toilets. So
you got to be shitting me. Literally.
No, that's what the word is about. I am shitting, or somebody is shitting you.
Guard against the Lou. Yeah, Gardy Lou.
Wow, good job, Mark.
Thank you.
I am using Farty Lou every time I'm about to fart in front of my kids. Bringing that back.
I warned you.
Farty Lou, I said it. You don't have to say excuse me if you say Farty Lou first.
I'd love to see you in an 1800s get up and you're with a powdered wig walking around the house. Farty Lou.
Yes, but if you touch the doorknob first, it's excusable.
Farty Lou. Guard. That's great. That's a great word.
Jeez.
That great word was brought to us by a nefarious nerd who is an Englishman. He's got some experience.
Real quick, that is the guy.
Scottish word. Is that right?
The definition I found said it was Scottish, but I think the one he sent me also said it was British slang.
Okay.
So I think
it's pronounced Gardy Lou. No, that's not Scottish, is it? How do you do that in a Scottish accent? How do you say it in a Scottish accent?
I think we pretty much do all accents on here.
We do.
I default to
if it's Gardy Lou. No, I'm just being angry.
It's hard. Yeah. How do you
say
the most
Gardy Lou?
well-known Scottish actor, of course, Mike Myers. I guess how does he do it?
If it's not. That's a really hard word to say in a Scottish accent.
Yeah.
Gardy Lou.
Oh, there you go.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the person who is like walking down the street. Someone's about to dump waste out of their window, and this guy goes, "Up, shit's happening over here," and everyone's steps back.
The shitter, the shit thrower is the one. It's an exclamation saying,
"Oh, watch out! I'm chucking shit."
I'm chucking shit.
Like 4. It's like 4 in golf, but for shit.
But it's a 3 because it's a 1 and a 2 in a bucket together.
No way.
Yeah.
Gardy Lou.
He said it. Oh, I can't get mad. Okay, well.
Man.
Wow. That's great. Yeah.
I can't imagine that worked about 20% of the time, and the other 80%, somebody was like, somebody threw shit on me, didn't yell Gardy Lou.
What blows my mind is that it was happening so often that they had to come up with its own word.
Right. You can't just look left and right or wait to throw your shit out of a window for 3 seconds.
Yeah, because if you yell "watch out," people stop and look up.
Okay.
You got to yell something that's like you go backwards.
You're pretty much yelling "gun."
Yeah, that's right.
And then everyone's sprinting. Yeah.
Right.
You sprint, you dart sideways.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what they say, that if you're like being chased or something, don't yell help, because
fire, right?
Yeah, you yell fire or something that will attract more attention. Help for some reason is not. People, we're desensitized to that.
Yeah, that's true. I've heard that, because it's like, if you yell help, how fucked up is it if you yell help and someone's like, oh, someone else's problem?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then when you yell fire, you're like, we got to check. I think it's because we like to see stuff burn. So it's like, when we come to that person that's like, fire, and we're like, oh shit, we got to check out this fire. And you run there and it's like, you're not on fire. You're just being stabbed.
Yeah. Hey, don't cry fire, buddy.
Yeah, you deserve that.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
All right.
This is
good one.
Kind of a dark turn, but I like
it. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Nefarious. Excellent word.
Yeah, great.
I feel much more educated. Then our other quick piece of business is we got some mail.
Okay.
Oh, we got a letter, not a letter, a package.
Okay.
So let me open this real quick.
Oh. Who's it from?
I'll give you one guess.
Okay. Oh, based on what it is?
No, just guess.
Don't know.
Drew and Ariana. They again the only
okay.
The sweetest people in the world.
Oh, jeez, you guys! Wow, it's very nice. Yeah, they gave us some stuff before. Yeah.
Oh my God,
cute stuff.
What is it?
Which I have on my desk.
Yeah.
Guys, they sent us little dicks, little yarn knit dicks.
Knitted dicks?
Knitted dicks.
Oh my God.
Knitted dicks for us. How sweet is that?
Oh, look. It says bag of dicks on the bag.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
Thanks.
I'll tell you what. Thank you guys so much.
Those are not dick covers.
Yeah.
No.
Not like a
for winter.
Like a winter.
Right.
Did not seem right.
We can try.
You know how when a kid draws a balls and dick, they draw like 3 ovals in a row. Like the balls are
around kids
lateral.
That draw dicks.
Like the balls are lateral. They should be under the dick. You know?
Yeah.
I think that's how those are knitted.
Yeah.
Like, so if you cover yourself for the winter, you got to have balls that go out to the side.
Well, it's like earmuffs for your balls.
I think so.
Yeah. That's very sweet.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
They get us for sure.
100%. Yes. Yeah.
I promise you, I'm going to wear that. If I ever have to get in a suit again, I will put that as a lapel.
Can I make them into cufflinks?
Oh my God.
I don't think I have anything that needs cufflinks. But
yeah, me
they're
neither.
multi-purpose.
Yeah.
Just to have that little velvet box on my dresser, that would be something, right?
Well, a velvet box would be different. That would be
right.
Vaginas, right?
Yeah.
So. Well, that's very sweet. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Guys.
All right.
Wow.
So we're conspiracy away. Game on.
Oh
yeah.
Man.
Yes. Right. Yeah. So Justin's gonna. We were live streaming one day on our Twitch. We were flying over the Denver airport. We started to talk about that, and a lot of chatter happening about the conspiracy theory on the Denver airport. And so I said, well, what better group of guys to get on and give us some information than Justin and Conspiracy Beer Me. So
yeah. Well, thanks. One of our earlier topics, but still one of our favorites, that comes up because when you do enough conspiracies, they start to kind of loop around to each other. So we had a fun time. So let me just give you a little bit of background. Stop me whenever. If anything sounds off, it probably is because it's weird. It's a weird thing. So, but the Denver International Airport, when you flew over it, you were flying in a game, right? Or for real? Okay, yeah. So that airport was built in 1994 and 1995. And what was immediately suspicious to people is people of Denver didn't really understand why they were building an airport, because they already had an airport that was perfectly functional and didn't seem to really have many problems. It was very close to downtown. In fairness, it didn't have parallel runways, which, as I understand it from air traffic controllers, means that it limits like how you can do. It slows down your takeoffs and landings, because parallel runways apparently help. But they were going to propose this new airport, and the location, people were like, wait, what? It was an hour away from downtown Denver. Like, the Denver airport is so far away from the original. People were like, that's kind of weird. Why are you making it less convenient? That's not normally what one does. And to top it all off, it is the biggest airport in the entire world, land-wise. It's 54 square miles big.
What?
That's twice the size of the island of Manhattan. It is insanely large, and people are like, what? Why do we need an airport that big? This doesn't add up. And so they were like, we don't understand, why is it so large? Why is it so far away? So then, as the building progressed, they built these 5 humongous buildings, the first 5 buildings built. And after they were built, the company came out and said, yeah, you know what? These buildings, there's a problem. We got to remove these buildings and start over. But this is where it gets weird. They didn't demolish those buildings. They buried them underground, covered them up, and started building the airport on top of 5 buildings.
No.
No, totally. There was such a public uproar that they were like, we want to see a tour of these buildings. We don't believe something's going on.
Oh, really?
People supposedly there were public tours, and people were like, no, there's buildings underneath the airport. Like,
holy tits.
So they buried them underneath the airport, paved over top of it, and started
okay.
So
they buried them. They didn't like lie the buildings down and cover them in dirt. They buried them vertically.
Yeah.
They just filled dirt. So that's how you build a bunker in plain sight of everybody.
Right.
It's got to be.
You build a sound house or structure, and then you just throw dirt on top of it.
You just bury it. And which is like, it's just crazy that they're like, yeah, we screwed up, guys.
No.
We these were supposed to be the basement. We're gonna fix it though. We're gonna dig it out.
It's supposed to be the basement.
Okay.
Yeah, they will. Yeah.
Well, how finished were these buildings?
Completely finished.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's absolutely.
Yeah. So again, it was like one of these things that people were like, what is there was clearly from the very jump, there was a lot of subterranean work going on, which people felt was like a red flag. That's why the public demanded sort of, we want to see what's going on under there. The fact that they said yes is also probably a red flag, because whenever you demand to see something you think is suspicious, and they're like, yeah, we'll show it to you. Like, they're almost always not showing you the bad stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, come to North Korea. We'll take you on this tour and show you.
How everything is
right.
Like,
Watch how much they smile. Watch this one.
Yeah, everyone looked really happy that we met. It's So they also built one of the things that was going to be really big at the Denver airport was they built an extensive tunnel system to move luggage throughout the entire complex in underground tunnels. And it was like a spectacular failure, like to the tune of like $250 million. The software didn't work. The system didn't work, till eventually they abandoned it. Supposedly they abandoned this $250 million tunnel system that runs all throughout the airport, and just said, yeah, it didn't work, so we're not going to use it. But the subterranean buildings are still there. The tunnels are still there. The conveyor belts and the transportation system is all still there. And numerous Denver airport employees are like, those whatever they're moving, they're still moving stuff to this day. They're still using them. They're just not using them for luggage anymore.
Since 95, was it?
Since 95, yeah. Yeah, and you can read all about just the spectacular failure, if you just Google it, of the Denver airport luggage facility.
So they weren't going to use these carts that zip around that have luggage on them. They just decided, let's build a tunnel system to move the luggage.
Like, and it's amazing to me that they couldn't get it to work, especially with $250 million at play.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
is that the most common? What?
Miles long? I mean, if it's
it was miles long. It was a complete, incredible tunnel system that's still there and still operational. It's still being used for something. But
you think you'd build terminals, right? Have the plane land where the people need their luggage instead of shipping it miles underground.
Well, and we're going to take your luggage. We're going to put it underground. All right, don't ask questions.
Yeah. No, but what it does is it gives them a system where they can move stuff out of sight of people altogether. Like,
so, wow. All right. So the
biggest, again, they have subterranean buildings there that people know about, and then there's, again, we'll get a little bit later, there's perhaps more going on than just those 5 buildings.
Mm-hmm. Is the most common theory this is an excuse to build a underground bunker or a military base? Is it or fallout shelter? Or
we're gonna touch upon what are called deep underground military bases in a bit. Okay, but you're very warm to where the conspiracy in, but there's a lot more until we get there. So
yeah.
So another thing that also raised suspicions and somewhat outraged the public was that the Denver airport cost an insane amount of money. So just to give you a reference point, the Washington Dulles International Airport, which has an international runway, it cost $365 million total to build that.
Okay.
How much do you think the Denver airport was over budget? Not what their budget was. How much do you think they went over their budget by?
And you said just the tunnel system was like 250 something?
Tunnel system was 250.
I would over
that's
like
been,
I don't know,
$2 billion over budget.
Oh, jeez.
And everyone's like, how in the world did you spend $2 additional billion to the already billions that we budgeted for this? So like, what is like? Airport engineers like, it doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense that anything would cost that much. Like, it does, something else is going on there. They're building something other than an airport for it to cost that much money.
So most people there are like, come on.
Yeah, right.
Well, in fairness to the contractor, he's probably like, look, I've never built a conveyor belt this long before. I don't know what the fuck it's going to be. We've never done this. I usually deal with escalators. I've done a couple of stairs.
Okay.
I do, grocery stores where people check out. I've done conveyor belts that long.
But there's got to be some government excuse man that tells stories to everybody, right? And has to explain away all these things.
Yeah.
Right?
Jeez.
Just an airport excuse, man. It's not the government, I guess, right? It's just an airport being built.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in some ways, the most impressive thing about all this is that they didn't really try to hide anything. They're just like, we built these buildings wrong. We're going to bury them underground. People are like, oh, that's kind of suspicious. They're like, you want to come take a look? It's like, it cost. Like, they didn't fudge the numbers. They were just like, we're $2 billion over budget. And people are like, why is that? And they're like, that's just what it is, And like you'll see later on, they were just constantly doing stuff where they're like, I feel like you're not even trying to hide the fact that you're doing something suspicious. Like, okay, here's an example. In one wing terminal of Denver Airport, there's what's called the capstone, which is like what the builders usually put on as kind of like, this was built by these people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is not uncommon, but the capstone has the Masonic symbol on it, right? So you guys are familiar with the Freemasons, who are mired in all kinds of
like the dollar capstone, and then like the Egypt one or something like that,
right. So and the Masons, they're sort of like the mafia of stonework, and it has this like the most worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Colorado in jurisdiction, blah, 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 March 19th, 1994, the Mason symbol. But the weird thing is that on the capstone, it says that the airport was commissioned by the New World Order, the New World Airport Commission. Which
I heard about it, and it doesn't exist or something, right?
Yeah, that organization does not even exist. There's no such thing as the New World Airport Commission.
Could it have been a failed business startup?
That or how many explain? It's either that, Mark, or someone wrote it as a joke, or it's a real thing that then they just swept under the rug. Like,
well, they're not. That's the thing. They're not even sweeping it under the rug. No. They're just like, yeah, this is the New World Order. Yeah, this is the New World Airport Commission, and they're like, yeah, we're the Masons. And even it says March 1994. And if you add 191994 together, that equals 33. And 33 is the highest order of the Masonic order. So they're like, and they call that the Great Hall, which is the name of the inner sanctum of all Masonic lodges. Like only the 33 can go into the Great Hall, which is this one part of the Denver airport where this plaque is that attributes the building of the airport to the New World Airport Commission. Which again, it's just like, why would you even put that up there? That just seems so. It seems so on the nose that you're just like, yeah, that's right. What are you going to do about it?
I feel like it was it might have been like a failed Disney attraction sort of thing. Someone has this new company. He's like, this is a new world, or we're going to have fucking conveyor belts. No one's going to have to walk. It's the new world. No one's walking.
No one's going to have to walk the conveyor.
No one's going to have to walk. You can have your
small world
terminal
in Orlando. Denver's getting the new world.
The New World Order.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a new world after all.
Yeah, this is all making sense to me. I don't.
Doesn't Disney have like a secret 33 club or something like that? Right?
Yeah.
Don't they have
Disney?
Yeah.
Disneyland has a secret club in Disneyland.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I just cracked the code.
It's very creepy though. It's like it's a place they serve alcohol like deep in the Disneyland park that all like the mega stars used to party at, like Sinatra and all those guys.
You have to pay like a whole bunch of money to be part
to get in. Yeah.
All right. So from hearing this, it seems like
the Disney thing now.
It just seems like
it
seems like they just do not care about hiding anything.
Right. I mean, that's right, because when they open, people go to the airport and they're like, "What's up with the artwork choices?" And look, I get it. Art is subjective, but the main art at the Denver airport is this giant blue horse that they've called Blucifer.
Okay. All right.
Because it's got these demonic eyes.
Okay.
And it's like it's so odd. Like it's not a pleasant sight at all. Like it's this. If you look up Blucifer, quick side note: when we did our podcast on this, I mispronounced it and I called it Bludicrous, which is also so we called it Bludicrous. And it was like, it's Blucifer. And I'm like, Bludicrous was funnier.
Yeah, Bludicrous.
Yeah. But so like, when Bludicrous was being installed, just to tell you some of the grim lore of Blucifer, Blucifer is being installed and a shard of glass fell off of him and impaled his creator and killed him on the spot. So literally drew blood. Blucifer is a killer. And it's a it's a giant, chiseled, muscular, angry-looking horse. It just looks evil as
apocalypse.
Yeah, it looks like an apocalyptic horse, which you'll see that theme come up because another picture that's gained a lot of problems is there's one that really looks like very much like Nazis, and the Boy Scouts seem to be surrendering to them. And it's a really, it's a really.
I think I know the one you're talking about. Yeah, he's got like a gas mask on or something.
Yeah, he's got a gas mask and he's holding like an automatic rifle and he's like a sword and he's killing
airport art.
He's killing a dove, like the white dove of peace. Like his sword is like stabbing the dove, and there's these like women crying with dead fetuses, and then like. It's such a gruesome image. People are like, what the fuck? I'm just going to going to Miami for the week. I don't.
What's that badge called when you do all that as a Boy Scout?
It's like the New World Order guys going up to his boss, like, I'm making it obvious. I don't know how else to tell him. Like, I'm doing all these things.
There's a crazy image of it's a statue of a suitcase, but it's open.
Sure, airport.
And this gargoyle of death is like coming out of the suitcase, and it's like, cool. That's yeah. And people have pointed out that like it's reminiscent of somehow like somebody bringing some deadly type virus or something, there's something deadly within their suitcase.
Ooh, like 12 monkeys.
On the voice of reason, I think TSA guys are tired of telling people what you can bring and what you can't bring on a flight. So they said, let's make a statue.
So you got any sharp objects and gargoyles in here?
Like, and people are pointing at the murals, but what the fuck?
Yeah.
Gargoyles. Got them? Check them. All right.
Could Lucifer just be the Disney mascot for this place? Could he just be like a costume?
Yeah,
maybe
if this is the park that celebrates the end of the world, yes, because that's what all this stuff seems to suggest. I mean, there's an image. It's so bizarre where there's like all these endangered species dying, and there's like mass graves and like a dead snow leopard and a penguin in a glass case, and like the world's burning. No, like it's so. I'm not kidding. These are like, this is the art there, and it's like people were like, who the fuck commissioned this, right? Like you're $2 billion over budget and you're making this. Like,
I guess, in all fairness, I don't know what other airport art looks like. It could be as morbid and wild as this shit is. I've just never noticed it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think in reality, probably not. Yeah.
I think it's most art is very like Marriott lobby art. Like
pastels and florals and
we're
still
just
life.
Like, oh, that's kind of odd. That's nice. Okay.
It almost seems like the artist or whoever's the New World Order guy in charge of this whole airport is like a cry for help. Like he's like, hey, can we do this stuff? Look at this. You put it together.
That's right.
God, it's so blatant.
There are countless people who've pointed out what appear to be Nazi symbols in these arts. There's one which is even more interesting based on what's going on in our world today, where it shows the children of the world, but like they have masks on with their country's logo on them. So like all the children of the world are covered in like breathing masks like we wear for the pandemic.
Fuck me.
Yeah. So it's like, so you're bringing some gargoyle of death in through a suitcase. You're showing like endangered species all dying in fire. You're showing like Boy Scouts surrendering to this Nazi soldier who's killing the bird of peace. Like you have Nazi symbols. They have the words AUAG on this big plaque, which people were like, what does that mean? And most people said it means AU is
like gold mercury.
Gold. I thought it was silver. AU and AG is silver, right?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah. So they said it was the official explanation is that it was a nod toward the silver and gold rush, which helped bring people to Colorado. Until somebody pointed out that that's also the name of the scientific name of a deadly compound, a deadly like pandemic like virus that was invented in New Zealand, that people have said could decimate the Earth's population.
Whoa.
So they're like, so all of this led people to think that there's something going on here.
Something weird's going on. Something weird's going on. What's the message? What are they trying to say?
Fingers on it, but something's
not quite right.
Yeah, and that you can't put your finger on it, but you know something's going on.
Yes, right. Yeah. I mean, there have been over the years, there have been a number of like super weird things have happened. Most odd, because it's still unexplained, is that in 2007, for some inexplicable reason, within roughly the same hour, less than an hour, but roughly an hour, 13 airplanes' windshields cracked. which is really rare. Like that's 2007. In the previous 13 years, 20 airplanes windshields had cracked in the entire period of 13 years. Wow. And then in 1 hour. So the FAA came in and they're like, what happened? And they're like, we don't know. Like all of a sudden, all of our windshields started. So they were like, is this
you
some
don't
kind
know?
of like
well, what's that over there? Oh, it's a gargoyle. What's that over there? That's a Nazi. What's that over there?
I think it was some kind of focused energy sound weapon that was being tested. But it was something very odd that the FAA could not explain. So there's lots of things like that happen. And eventually people were like, all right, something's going on here that you're not telling us. And it probably involves Nazis. So people were like, this is probably some kind of neo-Nazi operation here. Lots of these secret organizations like the Masons, if you dig deep enough, you'll find some connections to Nazis. And then we're like, yeah, this is probably Nazis. Someone's like, guys, have you looked at this thing from the sky? Like, have you looked at the view from above? And that's where I sent a picture. I don't know are you able to show that picture at this point?
Yeah, I'm gonna put that on the stream there.
So then they're like, yeah, look at how this airport's laid out. So
man. Okay. Oh my God, you're kidding me. Come on.
They're like, yeah, let's maybe don't be that obvious, right?
Yeah. The guy goes up to his Masonic boss. He's like, I don't know what else to do. I've done everything to tell them. This is the most evil shit.
Like it's so on the nose that they couldn't have sat in a meeting without someone going like, hey, I'm looking at the blueprints here. Does anyone think that kind of looks like a swastika, maybe? And
yeah, like this was in thousands of hours of meetings, and
nobody noticed it. Nobody said like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't. And,
wow.
It's look. I know it's not a perfect swastika, but I also think that the further you get away from it, the more it looks like one. And if it is meant to be some kind of coded symbol, this is kind of interesting. It's meant to be a coded symbol from someone approaching from the air, right? Maybe even from very far away.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Alien
like the Naztech. Do you guys know the Naztech lines?
Yeah.
So the Naztech lines are these images drawn in these. It's this hard Scrabble ground that they basically scored the ground in ancient South America and made these gigantic drawings that went unnoticed for hundreds and hundreds of years. But then when air travel came, you look above them, you can see the designs. They look like lizards and people and shapes and everything. And they're like, well, who are they drawing those for?
Wow.
Like the only way to draw those would be to have an aerial perspective. Like you couldn't pull off some of those shapes unless you could see it from above. And this is the same kind of thing. It's like, well, who's that symbol for? Like, who were you trying to attract to that location? Or maybe you're just trying to put a symbol on the ground so that it's like, wink, wink, we're back.
Right.
Okay.
But it's definitely one of the weirdest things about the Denver airport that the runway system is shaped.
Yeah, I am no architectist, but but I would assume if you put me in a job and they were like, hey, what do you think of this layout? I'd be like, it seems like all the planes could run into each other very easily. Because they're all going at each other.
And like the one simple like line based thing that you would want to avoid any sort of like does it kind of look like that? It's that's the one thing you would want not to look like.
Yeah, can you guys what is your vision for the runway configuration? Anything but a swastika. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I came back with. What do you guys that's the one thing we didn't want.
And then he comes back and he's like, well, not a dick and balls either. Come on, man. It's got to be something.
Yeah, how's a plane going to land on a ball-shaped runway?
Plus the balls are to the side. The balls would be underneath.
That's right. Yeah.
Who drew this? Your kid?
Yeah. So many people think that the Denver airport, if you want to just, end it here, is they're like, this is all part of what many people call the neo-Nazi movement, which has, since World War II, has gone very deep underground, has infiltrated all sorts of both right wing but mainstream groups, that just kind of like, it's just sort of slowly, there's the Nazis didn't die off. I mean, there's some people that think that Hitler didn't even get killed. He's still alive, living in South America, that they have a base in Antarctica. And this is just one of their hubs here, as they try to sort of, it's a very Hydra-esque type of view of the Nazi,
right,
like they've just, so that's one theory, but luckily, engineer Philip Schneider, who worked at the Denver airport, became a whistleblower and gave us more information about the airport, which thickens the plot a little bit.
Oh, shit.
Damn. He worked on a number of he was a subterranean engineer, so he helped build kind of anything that was deep underground. And he started to notice as he was working on Denver that something odd was going on, like something that he had never experienced before. Like the first red flag for him, and he said this, is that every deep subterranean building it ever worked on, they're very cold, which makes a lot of sense if you think about it. I mean, if you've ever been in a cave, they're cold. Like you're not, there's no light, there's no heat. You're underground. It's just cold. He said that the Denver airport underneath was piping hot, like unbearably hot at times. And he's like, the only way that would happen is if there was a heat source below me, deeper than what, so he's like, I think I'm on the bottom floor, but I'm burning up, which means there's got to be something below me that's creating the heat that's rising up into this chamber that I'm in. So he's like, something is amiss, right? So he started taking pictures, and he realized that there was a power source that was in use underneath the Denver airport that was absolutely insane, like enough to power a small city underneath the Denver airport. And he has pictures of where he found the wiring and the sort of like the indication that there's some massive power source that's going underneath even where he stood. And eventually he found evidence that the Denver airport, beneath that what is the official subterranean level, is like 8 stories of underground buildings. Each level is 75 to 100 feet tall. So you're talking about something that goes like 800 feet underground.
What? This was underneath where he was?
That's underneath where he was. And all of it, he says, is connected by these tunnels, right? Like this extensive tunnel system that has some kind of movement going on, what seems to be constantly happening underneath the Denver airport. And there is, they were like, he said they were high-speed train vessels, which we'll talk about in a second. And this goes back to your point earlier, Stephen, is that people have since found, since Schneider's revelations, what they believe to be the blueprint for a series of interconnected tunnels that connect deep underground military bases around the world to Denver as the sort of central hub for this underground train system, underground high-speed train system.
Whoa.
Now, as crazy as that sounds, if you think about it for like a second, you're like, yeah, that kind of actually makes sense. Like, I'd almost be surprised if we didn't have such a system in our country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like nowadays with satellite technology and surveillance, it's like, how do we move something that we don't want our enemies to see? Like,
yeah.
Like, it seems like it would be the safest way to transport certain things.
Interesting. It would be underground.
Yeah. So the blueprint you can find is this sort of map system that takes people from Denver Airport to Dulce. There's an underground bunker in West Virginia, obviously to Washington, D.C. It takes you to all the NORAD. It's basically this underground internet, this interstate train system, all with Denver underneath the airport is sort of the hub of all this.
So Disney also has a underground thing when they when the characters take their heads off, right? They don't want kids to see and freak out. They gotta have a smoke break. They don't want Goofy without a head smoking, so they gotta go underground. So my own conspiracy is this is built by Disney as a failed attempt as the new Disney Disney park. The New World Disney Park.
Well, I mean, one thing that I failed to mention, which is because of all this theories, the Denver Airport Authority, to their credit, they've really leaned into the idea that they're doing something. Like, I was in the Denver airport recently, and I was just walking around trying to see, anything that I thought was crazy. And like if they have if they have a spot in the airport that's closed, even like just like a retail space that's like boarded up, like instead of having like closed for renovations, they have like a reptilian, like a reptile humanoid who's like, pardon our mess, we're hiding things behind this door. And they have all over like they have like just pictures of like reptile people like, peeking out behind corners and stuff. And they're clearly like, we're not doing anything. Here's just some reptiles to keep the rumors going,
Right.
Yeah.
So it's almost to a point where it's like, oh yeah, we're doing something behind these doors, but seriously,
they're taunting, What they're like, what are you gonna do about it? Kind of thing.
Wow. So we at Conspiracy Beer Me, we were like, this seems a little bit far-fetched, but I dug deep into this, no pun intended, this tunnel digging theory, and it turns out that it's probably true. And the reason it's probably true is because people have found a patent from 1975 and evidence that this patent has actually been built and put into use. And it's this tunnel digging machine. And it's a crazy, crazy machine because, you have to be able to build tunnels at a pretty rapid rate, and you have to be able to do it where people can't see. And the problem with tunnels is there's all that dirt, right? Because you're just tunneling out. Mm-hmm. But the way this machine works is it uses a nuclear power source to glassify the dirt into a completely smooth surface in the tunnel. So as it's digging, the dirt gets pushed to the outside, and then the nuclear energy basically turns it into glass. So in its wake, it's just a perfectly shaped tunnel that's completely smooth and nuclear reactive, but behind it. And it can build tunnels at a rate of 5 miles per hour.
What?
Jesus Christ.
And this is an actual U.S. patent that you can find on the internet. Yeah.
In the 70s.
In the 70s. So essentially, you could build a 3,000 mile tunnel across the entire United States in 60 days, which that's one machine and whoever's driving it. And then they have these high speed, cars that zip through there. You know what I'm talking about? Those ones that kind of like, they kind of fit the entire width of the tunnel and they just go whipping through there. And it's just like, and they're probably made out of lead or something. So you don't get radioactive, but
people are serious about their luggage. I mean, this is huge. I mean,
and you got to think that if that was patented in the 70s, there's got to be a fucking better one like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
they're not. That's the Nova of the tunnel digging machine. They're probably
right.
There are several versions past that at this point. Yeah.
Just to play the other side, though, just because a patent exists doesn't mean that the item in the patent has ever been created, could ever be created, or does. It's just somebody has said, "This is my idea. I'm planting my flag in this idea. No one else can have it." That's as far as I understand, that's what a patent does. It doesn't say this exists. We have these.
So technically, if I said, "Oh, it has to be feasible," like it has to be doable. Like I can't just say I invent this sandwich blowjob machine and And so every time I get blown by this machine, it also makes a sandwich, and no one can do it.
The energy has to go somewhere. Yeah.
Right. So
yeah, I think it has to be feasible. Meaning, you don't have to be able to build it, but it has to be conceivably buildable.
Got you. Okay.
So it can't. I mean, a sandwich blowjob machine seems pretty straightforward, but I mean,
right.
This can't be something like a teleport machine.
Wow.
They're just like, I know that you think someday they'll be able to bend space and time, but we're not going to give this to you now.
Right. Yeah. No one can be like, teleport, patent it, mine.
Some Shark Tank guy had to pick between those two inventions.
Bum, 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 bum.
One could build.
So target market.
We're getting to this point where we were like, we're trying to figure out like what would all these bases be for? Because according to the reports from Philip Schneider and others, what seems to have existed underneath the Denver airport was a space for housing people. Now, we didn't get too into this, but there are reports that there is a race of people who have been raised and lived in these spaces, like an entire race of people. They basically use for experimentation. Some people think they're all clones, but that evidence is so shaky. But there's plenty of reports of people seeing they're very pale, obviously because they live underground. But what is clear is that
Nazis are also very pale.
Yeah,
they could be raising Nazis.
Wait,
raising.
They can't see, not see. They
the
sunlight. There it is. Got it.
Cracked the case. So have there been, like, a while ago, you had those kids that planned to storm Area 51. Has there been, like, it seems like there is definitely going to be a group of people that plan, let's get some answers. Like, has there been anything like that? Like,
no, I mean, no, plenty of people have tried. Jesse the Body Ventura tried to go down there.
That show called like Conspiracy Theory, right?
Yeah, and that was one. He tried to get in down there, and
Jesse the Body Ventura.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that we're gonna put up with this. We're gonna get down to the bottom of these answers.
I like Jesse the Body.
He's a cool guy. Yeah.
I'm gonna go to that airport. I can't do it. Sometimes I can't.
He was in Running Man.
I want to clip this and just have a bunch of failed accents that tried to do.
Because he's got that deep voice, but then every once in a while it sounds real Minnesota.
Yeah. It's like thick Minnesota.
The airport. We go to I can't do them. Sometimes I can get them. Yeah. Every once in a while, I'll nail them, and I'm like, that sounds good. I just can't.
Maybe they're doing a Running Man type show underneath.
Underground. Well, let me throw this idea out at you: is that the tunnels seem to be a space for housing a lot of people, like a subterranean community that's interconnected with other subterranean communities, as if someone is prepping for a world where a large number of people will live underground.
Oh shit!
Right?
Like a 2012. What was that movie? 20.
December 21st, 2012.
Yeah, the one where they built all those boats to save the human race or something.
Well, and in fact, one of the pictures in the Denver airport shows the scroll of the Mayan calendar in the end date of December 21st, 2012.
Oh my God.
And so what people speculate is that the Mayan calendar showed on that day, December 21st, 2012, there was a real galactic event, which basically our horizon line into the galaxy became such a way that we could see farther into the galaxy than we've ever been able to see before. I don't know if people know that's what the significance of that solstice was.
Oh shit.
But that also works the other way.
Oh.
So people on the outside of the galaxy could also see to us, right? It's like, so the theory is that on that day, people who were going to invade us were able to see us and lock in on where they're trying to go. And to back this theory up, people point to what are called FRBs, or fast radio bursts. You guys ever heard about this?
Dude.
So
Jeff, you have?
Yeah, it's one of the like many unknown herd things that like the radios pick
Never
up.
heard of this.
Yeah, so years ago, somebody picked up a very fast burst of radio waves by sheer chance that came from an unknown outer space source. They're like, what are these? And so they're like, it was almost a fluke that they caught it. So they were like, let's build a radar specifically designed to capture these things, right? Because it seems like somebody's trying to signal us. So they built it near the North Pole, but in that like northern hemisphere, very far up. And it was a specially designed radar that was intended to catch this. And they were like, all right, it's all built. Let's turn it on and see if everything's working okay. And they turned it on and they were like, we just got like 4 more of these. And like since that time period, we've been just getting pegged with radio bursts from some unknown source in outer space. And the theory goes is that whoever is coming is on their way. They're just not here yet. Like on December 21st, 2012, they were able to see exactly where we were in the galaxy because of this event horizon that happened. And then now they've taken off and they're on their way. And the plan is that a select group of people who have been chosen are going to move into the underground world below Denver Airport, and we're going to have tunnel people, and then the rest of us schlaps are going to be living on the surface.
Yeah,
and
so that's these cucks that are looking at us from far away. They see us, and people are thinking that they are going to choose who lives down there.
No, the New World Order chooses who's going to live down there.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if you have if you have Rh negative blood, you probably will get down in there. That's pretty important.
Damn, I have no fucking skills. We've talked about this before. Like, like once the apocalypse comes, I got nothing to offer. So
yeah, they'll start to sell you some volcano insurance.
Better come up with that blowjob sandwich machine.
Yeah, Sam, who's one of our co-hosts on the show, his plan, I want to give him credit. He's just going to become a dog to the aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's short and kind of cute and funny, and he's like a Jack Russell Terrier for aliens. He's just like,
see that, yeah.
He cracks me up, man. He'll do anything for a beer. He's so funny.
He's the town jester.
Yeah, he's just like I will totally be a dog for the aliens, but then there's gonna be us. We're just gonna die out,
right?
So
yeah,
but yeah.
Wow. How long would it take for so and so to travel here, though? I mean, this could be.
Yeah. Well, that's what we don't know, because we don't understand space-time travel very well right now. But could be 50 years. That's pretty good. If they live as far away, I mean, we can barely get to Mars in 50 years, and that's really close. So I don't know. I think it maybe takes 12 years, maybe.
They probably have something more advanced,
Maybe, yeah.
So the Mayan calendar was like the one ring that we just put on our finger, and they're like, oh, there they are. Started coming towards us. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Lord of the Rings.
What were those things called? Those things were like they look like Lucifer,
Hobbits.
Those horses.
Oh. The ring race?
Remember those? What were those guys? Yeah, those guys are the big black.
Yeah. Blues. Oh yeah, were they riding Lucifers? I think they might.
They were. I think it seemed like evil demon horses. To me.
Interesting. Yeah.
Wow.
Connecting dots. Yeah. So that's what the Denver airport is. It's either a base for the neo-Nazis. It's either the Illuminati headquarters, or it's a deep underground military base intended to house a new world of subterranean dwellers to escape the incoming alien apocalypse.
They just went over budget. They just went over
budget. Or it was just a big whoopsie from a general contractor.
That's right. The guy that went over budget, they're like, hey, dude, you're $2 billion over budget. He's like, I got it. I'll distract people. And they're like, there's no way you could distract people from $2 billion. And he's like, oh, yeah, I can. Watch this. And he's just loving this.
You ever seen a horse made out of crystals?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Starts making all these, everyone's like, all this conspiracy stuff, and he just tiptoes out of the back of the room. No one's asking about $2 billion anymore.
I never thought it worked, but a few Nazi paintings, and no one's complaining about the budget anymore, John. That was brilliant. Yeah.
Wow.
That's the way to do it now. You come back from vacation. Your wife's like, you spent so much more money than you said. And you're like, hold on, I got to show you this picture of this Nazi drawing I found in the hotel. She doesn't question anymore.
Did they like in the past few years, did they take down those paintings?
I couldn't find them when I was at the airport recently. So that may have had, I mean, I followed directions as to where to find them, but they were not there. I had a long layover. So
okay, I heard a rumor that they got rid of them, but I wasn't sure.
It wouldn't surprise. I mean, I did not. I mean, when I looked, people said they were still there, and I followed the directions on how to get there, and I did not see. I could not find them. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go drink alcohol because that's a sure thing.
And you planned this layover, right, to get all your.
Yeah, to get my tax write-off for that trip so that I could say it was pod research.
Wow. Nice. Awesome.
So you, Justin, we just met tonight.
Yeah.
Strike me as a level-headed, reasonable person.
Thank you.
You're clearly very well researched on it. What is your take? What do you think out of all of this wild shit? What do you think it is?
I think, and this is legit. Is that I do think there is likely a network of underground military bases connected by tunnels that spans across the United States. I do think that is legitimate. I know that there are theories out there that the Earth is hollow. And there's an entire world inside of the Earth, and we've talked about that. Yeah, it's a whole city with like its entire other people, and I won't go that far, but I will say that
we'll have you back on for sure.
We have to.
Yeah. It's a crazy. The Hollow Earth theory is so awesome.
Man.
And everything that you've heard of, Loch Ness, Bigfoot, they all come from the Hollow Earth. They just
really
just come up to the surface. But I just think I think it makes sense to me that we have a network of deep underground military bases that we don't really know what they're doing. We've covered. It's been one of our favorite subjects, so we just covered different ones of them, and we've found some ones. There's one crazy one that has a couple devices that allow you to not time travel, but collect information from the future. It collects unstructured data from the future. And it's so complex that not many people can make much sense of it. But you know who worked on it, which is fascinating, is Matt Groening of The Simpsons. So I think that's how he's always predicting the future. He doesn't really know what he's talking about, but he gets these little snippets from the future from this machine.
And him and Conan and all those other Harvard grads or Ivy League comedy writers.
Wow, that's their secret, you know. So we've covered all these, and I aside from the stuff that's just crazy, I just do think that, I mean, Montauk Air Force Base in Long Island is one of my favorite. And it's a deep underground military base that's been confirmed. And it just did some crazy stuff in its day. I mean, it teleported a ship like 30 years in the future and snapped it back. And
we talked about that, I think, on this.
Yeah, that's all been verified. So like they've done some. I think these things are there, and I think they are connected. And I just think that like they're like, we need to build a hub, because we're doing more and more underground work. And they're like, well, we're going to build the Denver airport. Let's just build it underground. And the whole 5 building thing was sort of like a smokescreen to get the work done underground and justify the subterranean work they needed to do. And so they just did that. And they're like, yeah, this is it.
Jeez.
That's what I believe.
I could listen to this stuff all day. This is fascinating.
Yeah. Even if you don't believe in it or believe it, like it's just like just the outrageousness of the ideas is interesting. And
yeah, and I think that if you're doing something that's slightly unseemly or would shock people, like a transportation hub for an underground military tunnel system, then your best bet is to flirt and pretend like you're doing something that involves reptilians and, you know, a new world order and Nazis and stuff. So all that stuff is meant almost like, again, if the CIA is anything, they're masters of disinformation. And they like to when they tell lies, they like to tell really big lies to hide the ones that are actually the dangerous truths. That's been shown to be the tactic that they use all the time.
We'll tell you some absurd shit to keep you away from the real stuff.
We'll flirt around and sort of play like, yeah, no, we're going to build the runways in the shape of a swastika because that'll keep people speculating, when really what we're doing is just hiding government military secrets in underground tunnels and stuff.
So Nazis are the scapegoat or the jingling keys to distract you to.
Yeah. That's right.
That's what I have on my baby's jingling keys. Nazi symbols in front of her.
I mean, I just pulled up Google Earth or maps. Denver is almost dead nuts in the center of the country, left to right, top to bottom.
Yep. I meant to say that. That is one of why the thing. Yeah, that's on that blueprint that shows the tunnel of blueprints. Yeah, it's very, very well.
Oh, so it would be a hub of.
Yeah, it's just the hub for. And I'll try to send you guys a link in the chat of the deep.
I don't know. Does anybody would Fallout, would that like smoke or something, would that settle, or smoke rises, but would Fallout settle to lower elevations? So would a higher elevation be less likely to be affected by Fallout? I'm guessing there has to be like a geographical, and like Denver is in the middle of the Great American Desert, or, you know, it's a desert area. It's not like a beautiful tree.
But it says right next to it here on the maps, National Forest.
It's a lie. That's a CIA lie.
Yeah, the link that I sent you is a link of the map, and this is like an actual map. So like it's not something that someone designed. It was something that was found in government files. So you guys can put that into your discourse, but that shows the system of deep underground military bases and tunnels that connect them all. And we've covered a lot of those, and there's so many of them that are just like complete red flags where you're just like, what in the world is going on?
And some of these bases have been confirmed. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean most of them are confirmed, and like usually when you research them, the pattern's pretty simple. It's like they're in somewhat remote areas, not a lot of people, and like the townspeople are like, yeah, everybody knows about it. We don't know what goes on there, but we see men in trucks going all hours of the night and day, and then you drive over there and you don't see anything. Like there's you don't ever see that. Like we can never find the trucks, but they're constantly coming and going up and down this road. That's the typical pattern for these deep underground military bases. And you can find pictures of the entrances to some. There's one, I think, in Wyoming, and NORAD is a deep underground military base that most people know from war games, the Matthew Broderick classic.
People have found entrances? Oh, okay. Are they disguised or just like...
Man, it's like it's carved into a cave with like, just a
like road
metal gate that looks like, something out of, a Marvel movie. Yeah, I mean, I think if you're going to be invaded by aliens, I should say when we're invaded by aliens. Maybe we already were. I mean, that's probably right, that they're just coming back.
Yeah. That is super interesting about that date. You could see so much farther than normal. That's incredible.
That's what happened on that date. That was sort of, and that's true. I mean, whether aliens from another galaxy could see us, but that's at least what people theorize, is that they're like, all right. So, and the fast radio burst thing is pretty interesting too. I mean, that's actually something that I think is actually genuinely interesting, that we're starting to have radar technology that allows us to just get signals. You know, our planet is giving off a little bit of radio signals and light pollution and things. And by the time it gets to outer space, it's just so big and so far away that very, very little gets through. So, but
right. So it's like as soon as we figured out electricity in like big cities, like there's an alien that's like, 100 light years away. That's like,
yeah,
what the fuck is it?
Yeah,
like looking through his hands.
It's like that. It's like when they put a new street lamp in, and you're like, "What is?" And then left Earth on? Did somebody leave Earth on?
The alien takes on his glasses from his nightstand. He puts it in. He's looking out his window. He's like, "Honey, what the fuck is this?" And then she's like, "Well, you get back in bed." And he's like, "No, I got to check this shit out." And he gets to the spaceship. And now he's coming.
Yeah.
It used to be so nice out here. We could see all the stars, and now all these city lights are coming in here. We got to move, honey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He just arrives in his underwear just because he wants to see, like, what the fuck?
I mean, if you follow, conspiracy theories or our pod, you'll know that like there has just been a lot of things very recently, which at least make you think like maybe something is like. I don't know if you guys remember there was the first interstellar object ever to come through our solar system, very, very close to Earth recently. It was this cigar-shaped object that was moving in a way that did not make any logical sense. And one scientist somewhat controversially claimed that this was the first indication of a UFO that's ever been spotted in our solar system. And he gave reasons why, just in terms of the temperature on its surface, its movements and everything. It had a weird name. It had like a Umau Maui was like what they called it. But I mean, we just seem to be having, and it's either because our technology is better or something, that we just seem to have more and more contact with things coming into our solar system nowadays.
Crazy.
Okay. What a time. If you enjoy this type of stuff, look up Conspiracy Beer Me.
Absolutely.
I think I'll be listening like way often after hearing all this, like, and how in-depth
you guys had
goes.
On Project Bluebeam, I think it was.
Project Bluebeam. That's a great, man, love Project Bluebeam.
Yeah, so I was on that episode, and obviously check out their other stuff because it's it's like this, and it's wild.
We should do this more. Like we're podcast neighbors now, right? So
yeah.
Like you live in the same building, and we're just going. We should say hi to the guy.
Yeah,
the podcast down the hall. You're a conspiracy theorist, but
right? Yeah.
Anytime that we could come on, or we have some of you on ours, it'd be great, man.
Okay.
So much fun.
For sure.
Yeah. Of all the stuff, and I apologize if you said this already, but of all the topics that you guys have covered on the podcast, what's your favorite?
It's a great question. My favorite thing we covered is something that most people know, but we landed somewhere that I think is awesome. Is Stonehenge, because nobody really knows what Stonehenge is, and so we tried really hard to come up with something new. And what we found is that there is an ancient circle around the Earth. I mean, not a real circle, but like if you drew this circle, and along that circle is like every major ancient structure, like Easter Island, the Great Pyramids, all these like old ancient sites kind of circle the Earth in this one sort of loop. And the theory is, it's not ours, but is that there was they used those ancient sites to harness latent power that existed in what are called ley lines. Ley lines are real things. Ley lines are how like animals migrate.
Right.
They're energy streams that rely upon magnetic energy that's in the Earth's surface.
Oh yeah, I think I heard about this. Like some shrubbery or plants will like curve around them or something like that. Or
right, yeah. I mean, they're very, very mysterious, but they think that ancient people knew how to harness this energy, or maybe not ancients, but ancient intelligent aliens knew how to build things who could do this. And so the theory is that this is crazy, but stick with me, is that the Earth is tilted at the absolute perfect angle. Like our tilt gives us the maximal growing season that you can possibly have for our planet. Which seems really, really fortuitous. So the initial tilt apparently was to 13 and we're at 14 degrees. And the initial, so an asteroid hit us and it got us to 14 degrees. That asteroid became our moon. Right. And then whoever kind of engineered the Earth was like, if we could tilt this thing like another half degrees, it would increase the growing season, it would reduce the harshness of the winter, and it would be much more hospitable to live in. And so what they did is they built this energy system to harness the magnetic power of these ley lines. And the Earth has an old Arctic magnetic. The magnetic North Pole is not what it always used to be. It used to be a different location. And Stonehenge was built in one of two places on the Earth that they could use to align the Earth's tilt. And it's built on two axes. This is true, by the way. Two axes. One axis is aligned to the summer solstice now. One axis is aligned to the summer solstice from the old magnetic pole. So what Stonehenge was it was a tool to tell them when the Earth had been tilted to the exact perfect moment. Right? So it used to be aligned to the old thing, and then they tilted it ever so slightly, and now it's perfectly aligned to the summer solstice as we know it now. And it was that extra half degrees that gave us the world that we know today.
Stonehenge is a level?
It's a level.
Holy
That's exactly right. It's a level.
Oh my God.
And it's why
dude.
There's one axis that they're like, we don't understand why this axis exists, because it doesn't line up with any of the dates of the orbit of the Earth. And they're like, yeah, it does if you think about the old magnetic pole when it was at 13.5 degrees.
I wonder if you show like ancient aliens a level and they're going to be like, holy shit, we're going to just use this?
Yeah. That's way easier. Yeah.
That is insane, dude.
It's built in only one of two places on the Earth where you could do that. So that's why, again, that's one of the reasons why we were like, I think we figured this one out.
Whoa. Oh my God. Well,
yeah.
I'll
that one's fun. Stonehenge was a fun one.
So listen to that.
Yeah.
Okay. My mind is blown for the night, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love talking about this stuff.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Next week, are birds real? Let's find out.
No, and why not?
Wyoming isn't real either. That's another one we talked about.
Wyoming isn't real?
Yeah, no. Google it. Is Wyoming real?
Oh, really? Okay. God.
People are like, have you ever been to Wyoming?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there's people are like, really? Where were you? What road? Because I'll show you that road doesn't go to Wyoming.
Really?
No, it's not a real conspiracy. It's a real conspiracy, but it's meant to poke holes at the logic of conspiracy theorists and knowledge in general.
Okay. Wow.
That's what it's meant to do.
I was about to say, where did my parents take us then?
We went there once. Can't remember how we got there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this has been super fun. I mean, this is like,
thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah.
It's such a refreshing to have somebody that actually knows what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't just pulling stuff out of their ass for an hour.
Yeah, we do that quite often.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you should hear. Yeah, I mean, 2/3 of our pod are idiots. I mean, they just They know nothing. They just, they just make dick jokes.
Yeah.
Well, that's 3/3 ours.
That was ridiculous.
3/3.